almost a year ago in a game that was played between the Giants and the Redskins at RFK Stadium in the nation's capital.
NFC East.
The Giants were soon into their stride, Joe Morris taking them to the Redskins 22 with this burst. But the Giants couldn't get much further and settled for Raul Alegre's 37-yard field goal. We pick up commentary on the first play of the second quarter. The Giants are on the move again. 2nd and 2 at Washington's 34-yard line. With Frank in the booth is Al Michaels.
And Morris is back in the game on 2nd and 2, and they give it to Joe, and he's got a first down. To the 24-yard line as this impressive Giants march continues, and Darrell Green comes up to make the tackle.
Every time they've been with this personnel set of the two tight ends, they have just shredded the defensive line. Morris gets a little opening, and he makes major yardage out of a little bit of nothing. Good block by Oates and Hard over on the left side.
First and 10 from the 24. Morris again back of Carton and takes it down to the 19-yard line.
Interesting, Al, it was Bill Parcells who told us even at the beginning of last year that Joe Morris really, he wasn't the durable type. You couldn't play him an entire football game. He played it well last year, over 1,300 yards, and he is more than durable.
And he's the eye back here, and he's durable enough to carry for the 3rd time in a row and take the ball to the 13-yard line and close to a first down, and he has it. So the march continues as Daniels and Mann make the tackle. And Morris, and that's very impressive in light of the fact that we mentioned before, the one bugaboo for his opposite number tonight, Rodgers, has been fumbling.
And the way that Joe runs, you would suspect he would cough it up more than he does. But he is very conscious, very aware. He gets the bouncing around in there, but that's usually when you fumble. But he is a very aware back with the ball.
And now it's Otis Anderson who spells Morris here. Even though Joe stays in the game, Anderson with the carry and a gain of close to 2.
Otis was not the most happy of football players with the St. Louis Cardinals. He had, as I mentioned earlier, great years. 5 out of 7 of his years with the Cardinals. He was over 1,000 yards last year. He didn't play, I think he missed the last 6 or 7 games altogether. He had a sore foot, but there was also a lot of talk about him being terribly unhappy and not wanting to play there.
2nd and 8. Sims's 5 completions have gone to 5 different receivers, and here's Morris for the touchdown. And the block by Anderson. Otis Anderson, who never wanted to be a fullback or a blocking back, but is just happy to be here, and the Giants are happy he's here, and so is Morris on that particular play.
He gets a big block from Anderson, but he got great penetration at the line of scrimmage. There was one miss there, and then out in front, a couple of Giants gets the block from Anderson, kind of a shielding block, if you will. But over on the right side, Nelson was there, Godfrey was there. They did a tremendous job, and the Giants are really moving this ball on the ground, and they're doing it almost effortlessly.
Morris has already gained 90 yards with 12:28 to go in the half. Allegre for the extra point. And the Giants come flying out of the box, and we've got a penalty marker. That's the first penalty marker that's been thrown tonight, and we'll get the call from Jerry Seaman.
Offside, number 56 defense. The extra point is good. 5-yard penalty, succeeding kickoff.
Calvin Daniels was offside. Joe Morris has given the Giants a 10-0 advantage.
Let's look at it again. This run and the others you've been watching against what was the 3rd best defense in the NFL only a year ago. It is not even nearly close to that this year, and the Giants are moving it ever so easily on the ground.
There were 2 more scores in the first half, both field goals. The Redskins must have hoped for more after wide receiver Gary Clark took them to the Giants' 5 with this 50-yard reception. But the Giants held firm, and Max Zendejas kicked his first field goal for the Redskins from 23 yards. In the last minute of the half, the Giants moved quickly into Washington territory. to leave Raul Alegre with a 44-yarder. He made it impressively, and at the half, the Giants led 13-3. The third quarter, Washington in possession, 2nd and 9 at their own 31.
2nd and 9. Picked off at the 45 by Perry Williams. And back to the 30.
Schrader had the time, but he has been feeling a lot of pressure. Lawrence Taylor again in on the pass rush. And let's take a look at Taylor. He comes bottom of your screen, working against Don Warren, slips that block, and Schrader senses he's in deep trouble from the outside, and he lets it fly, and Perry Williams, fine athlete at that cornerback position, took over for Mark Haynes a year ago, comes up with the interception. Good field position, Giants.
And Joe Morris from the 30 gets sandwiched. Bucks is there. And also very active, as you can see, Malott and number 77, Darrell Grant, trying to lead the defensive charge.
It's an important series for the Redskins defense. Down to 13-3. You don't want to go down 20-3. You don't want to go down 16-3 to what right now is the toughest defense in the NFL.
9:10 to play, third period. Sims going for the end zone for Johnson. Touchdown.
That's spectacular. A great throw. Sims had to have it right there, and Johnson was able to concentrate and hold on to it. What I said you don't want to have happen if you're a Redskin has happened. Let's take a look at Sims. Good protection. Both the backs took a quick look. No blitz. Anderson looked. Morris looked, and then they both went into the pattern. It left Dean all alone against Johnson, and Johnson, with the diving concentration, was able to come up with a super catch. But it's a tough defense now you have to come back against.
Johnson caught a couple of touchdown passes against Dallas in our Monday night opener. The extra point by Alegre here. And Johnson a little too slow in responding to his injuries in the estimation of Bill Parcells, and kind of in and out of a small doghouse, but very much best in show here as he makes the catch for the TD, and the Giants lead it 20-3. The Giants go in on a 30-yard pass to Bobby Johnson. They lead now by 17 with 9:04 to play in the third period, and Alegre kicking off. Keith Griffin, Archie's brother, from the 6 to the 22. And the Giants hitting defensively and special teams, and Herb Welch is there to put the tackle on.
Al, we were sitting there at the meeting this morning when Bobby Beathard, and if you want to put somebody up there in a class by himself in football judgment, it would be Bobby Beathard. He said this could be the best football team right now in the NFL. And he was talking to the Giants. He said if they can do anything on offense and get things happening on offense, they have the best defense going for them. And he was actually predicting what might happen tonight to the Redskins. And they have been overwhelmed thus far.
1st and 10 from the 23-yard line. And out to the 28 goes Gary Clark for a gain of 5. Well, this is the big test for Washington. 6-1 coming in. And again, they had played the exact schedule the Giants had. The difference being they beat the same teams except Seattle, whom the Giants lost to last week. The Skins took care of them earlier. Both have lost to Dallas. And again, if the Giants win this one, there would be a three-way tie. Skins, Giants, Cowboys at the halfway mark. 2nd and 5. Giants secondary really doing a job, and that pass is out of bounds. Didier finally got free, but right down the sideline, and Mark Collins was there covering. Third down, 5.
Schrader, with all the time in the world, he just could not find an open receiver. Finally had to loft one up there, but no chance for the completion. The one game you mentioned there, Al, the Giants did lose after winning 5 in a row. They lost last week to Seattle in Seattle, and that's kind of a different story. The Redskins beat Seattle in Washington. Seattle are tough up there. Tough period, but especially up there.
3rd and 5 from the 28. And with Clark in motion, Schrader under pressure, and gets it off and deep and out in front is Sanders. He's inside the 20, the 10, and he gets Washington very much back in the game, down to the 1-yard line. And Mark Collins fell down on the play, and that's the reason that Ricky Sanders was able to get loose for 71 yards.
Let's take a look at it. Again, Ricky Sanders, he has superb speed, and Collins was playing it. They have been getting behind Collins all night long. That time, he just stepped on his foot. Sanders almost stayed on his feet to get it into the end zone. This is what the Redskins had to have, a big play. And they get it from Ricky Sanders.
And that's his first career reception. Not too bad, huh? First career reception on Monday Night Football for 71 yards. And to get your team back in the game if they cash in here.
With a couple of high moms.
Rodgers, the eye back, and Rodgers with the ball and the touchdown as Rodgers gets in there.
And they needed this. They needed something big, and they come right back. Kind of a good football team, a well-coached football team. They did get the break with Collins falling down, but they capitalized on it. They get it into the end zone, and they keep themselves alive.
And the NFL record, as you can see, 13 games in a row in which you score a rushing touchdown. And Rodgers is just too shy now of tying that mark, the mark set by his former teammate. 11 consecutive games in which he has rushed for a score. The extra point by Zendejas is good. And so Washington, with 6:57 to go in the third period, gets right back in it. It is 20-10.
It was around this time that the Mets won their World Series. This was the response at Giant Stadium.
And that'll create a little bit of a delay here while the crowd settles down.
It will. And it'll delay things considerably for the next few days in New York.
Now back to football. The Redskins have the ball in good field position again. 1st and 10 at New York's 33-yard line.
Schrader chased and throwing off balance and incomplete. Gary Clark was the intended receiver, and Lawrence Taylor put on the sprint.
Once again, Taylor in on the pass pressure, and Schrader, had he perhaps had another fraction of a second, would have been able to unload the ball. The Redskins had quickly picked up on the fact that Hill was out, Herb Welch was in. They had Didier working against Welch, and had Schrader had a little more time, he might have been able to get the ball to Didier and into the end zone.
Second and 10. Didier in motion. Then Schrader sacked. Guess who?
Oh, he's having a night, isn't he? When he's not getting the sack, he's chasing Schrader out of the pocket, or he's back in the pass coverage. Yeah, he's back, if he ever went anywhere. Again, they bring him from all over, this time from the right side. They can't even hold him. Jacoby, who weighs about 300 pounds, lost him somewhere, reached around, tried to hold him, and couldn't do that. Here's the defense all to himself.
3rd and 20. Schrader, and wide open is Clark. Touchdown. As the Giants, with a major malfunction in the secondary, Welch was in the area, but he got by Williams. Williams may have been the man left hung out to dry, and Clark wide open and in for the score. And Parcells is really upset.
You could never know until you could talk with him, but Perry Williams up there and passes him off. He obviously is thinking zone. Welch, who has come in for an injured Kenny Hill, is not back there in the zone position where, in all probability, he should have been. And another easy one. And the Redskins stay in it. Gary Clark has been all over the ballpark tonight as the Giants have concentrated on a brilliant receiver, Art Monk. Gary Clark has absolutely run wild.
And so Zendejas with the extra point, and again it goes back to Kenny Hill coming out of the game. And the Giants malfunctioning in the secondary, and the Skins are within 3 for 12 to go in the third.
This is what Lawrence Taylor thought of the Giants' coverage on that last Washington touchdown. And his mood didn't improve. Raul Alegre missed this 29-yard field goal early in the fourth quarter. 2 drives later, the Redskins have a 1st and 10 at their own 14-yard line.
Schrader with Rogers behind him.
Boy, this has been a tough game defensively.
Schrader, low throw and a late hit, and a flag already had been thrown on the pass intended for Clark. Seaman saying, hold it, hold it. And he brings over the side judge, Bob Rice. And the call is against the Giants.
Holding number 25 defense. 1st down.
Been a long night.
Mark Collins fell down once.
He has been the designee attack point. A rookie from Cal State Fullerton.
Well, you got to go back almost 19 years to find a game in which the Giants had a 17-point or more lead and lost. At one point, they led by 17 here, 20-3. Schrader going deep, looking for Monk. He's one-on-one with Williams. He gets inside position and takes it to the 35. Williams had him covered, but Monk with that great experience, and that's why you see Monk in the Pro Bowl so often. He got the inside position and never let Williams come around him, and makes a great catch.
Pressure again on Schrader, and he was very calm, very collected. And about at this point, Monk is breaking free. Schrader sees it and fires it, and Monk got inside and took it away from Williams. Williams had good position on him. It was just a super athletic move on the part of one of the great receivers in this game. They've held him in check up till now, but he gets a big 1st down inside the Giants' 35-yard line.
47-yard gain. 1st and 10 to Washington. 7:10 to go in the 4th. Warren in motion. Rogers with the ball. Gain of 1. Again, to set it for you in the NFC East, Skins come in 6-1. Dallas at the halfway mark is 6-2. If New York wins this game, there would be a 3-way tie. Giants, Washington, Dallas at 6-2. If Washington wins, they'd be 7-1. Dallas would be a game back. The Giants would be 2 back.
And Dallas is here for the Giants this Sunday.
And Washington goes home to face the Vikings. 2nd and 9. Schrader escaping Taylor and then throwing low. Intended for Monk.
Taylor again in the pursuit. And Schrader, this is almost reminiscent of last year, November the 18th, when Theismann went down. A young unknown named Jay Schrader came on and brought the Redskins back to a 23-21 victory. They were down earlier. They had a 17-point deficit, and now Schrader has brought them back. Good athlete. He moves around well out there. Giants have been penetrating, but he's been able to slide and slip, and in most occasions, get the ball off.
3rd and 9. Monk in motion with Clark wide to the right. And Schrader going over the middle and finds Clark at the 18-yard line. Taylor says no, but the officials say yes.
And it was a yes, and Gary Clark is having a great night. Let's watch him once again. He's small, 5'9", 170-pounder, and he breaks inside Collins. This time, Collins was in the zone, and Clark found the opening, pulled up. Schrader was right on target, and they get the first down inside the 20. Good read by both Schrader and Clark.
1st and 10 to Washington. 5:40 to go in the 4th. Giants lead by 3. Warren in motion. Fake to Rogers. Knocked down. Mark Collins got a hand on it. Clark was the intended receiver.
That could have changed things around for Collins, who's had a tough night tonight. He's been very close, but he has missed on a couple occasions, and Gary Clark has made the most of it. And a good effort by the offensive line of the Redskins, and it is a good, solid offensive line. They give Schrader the time. He tries to squeeze one in. Collins almost comes up with the one-hand interception.
2nd and 10. 5:32 to play. Taylor sacked.
They knew he was coming. They couldn't do anything about it. He's so quick. He's so strong. His 3rd sack of the night.
And that's a big, 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 big play because it pushes him way back in a situation where at least they're looking for a field goal. He beats Russ Grimm.
A Pro Bowler. And another great effort. He's been playing method football tonight.
Well, they just went from what would have been a 36-yard field goal attempt to what at the moment would be about a 50-yard attempt. Big play. 3rd and 25. They have to get to the 9 for a first. Schrader over the middle. It's Clark again. Breaks the tackle. Down he goes at the 13. He's 4 yards shy of the first, but he's put him in a position to tie the game.
That's exactly what they wanted. They would have taken something even a little smaller, but they go back to the man who has given it to them all night long, and again the offensive line giving Schrader the time to throw the football. That was the key to it. Welch was there, but it was a good effort by Clark to find the opening, but that offensive line just gave Schrader the time to get it in there.
And Zendejas with a 30-yard attempt. Cox is their long kicker, but it's Zendejas from this range. And the kick has tied it with 4:06 to play in the 4th. The Redskins have overcome a 17-point deficit. And at the Meadowlands, it's Washington 20 and the Giants 20.
The Giants regroup. 1st and 10 from their own 40. 3:20 left in the game.
Sims lofting it deep for Miller and broken up at the last instant. Darrell Green, one of the NFL's fastest men, and some would say #1, got back there and with his great speed was able to catch up and flick it away.
And he was beaten. Bill Sims had the ball there. Maybe he could have put a little more on it to get it to Miller, but it was a great effort by Darrell Green. World-class sprinter at Texas A&I a few years ago, and you saw it right there. Superb effort. He's not big, Darrell Green, but he plays very big.
2nd and 10. Sims, and it's dropped at the 47 by Morris. He had possession in his hands, and Taylor mirroring the Giants' frustration. he's had a big night, but if you were with us earlier, a couple of blown coverages in the secondary by New York, and Taylor exhibiting his ire. 3rd and 10.
A little shower here at Giants Stadium.
A little bit. A couple of umbrellas beginning to pop up. 3rd and 10. Sims over the middle and open there is Johnson for a first down at the 46-yard line. With 2:58 remaining.
Johnson got himself into a one-on-one with Barry Wilburn. Sims, with good pass protection, fired it in there.
Again, the Giants with all of their timeouts remaining. And Washington as well as the clock runs down. 2:35 to go in the 4th.
And the field goal problems that have plagued the Giants over the past 2 seasons, I'm sure right now, are entering the mind of Bill Parcells.
Sims looking for Miller, and he makes the catch, and a flag goes down at the 22-yard line. Covered on the play by Green. Good catch. And let's see what Jerry Seaman's going to say.
Looked as though he only had 1 foot in. And it's going to go against Solomon Miller, working against Darrell Green. Look at it one more time. Darrell Green, individual coverage, pushing off the left hand, pushing off Darrell Green, and the official was right on top of it. He goes right to the hanky. Here's the call.
Pass interference, number 87 offense, still first down.
And even had it not been interference, it would not have been a legal catch. 1 foot in, the next one goes out.
Big Dave Butts, 6'7", gets a hand up. Sims has to put it up high. There's the 1 foot. And another quick look at that left hand pushing off Darrell Green.
So it's a 10-yard penalty. It puts the Giants back at their own 44. 1st and 20. Miller in motion. Morris gets the give. Morris into Washington territory to the 40, the 30, to the 22.
He's been the offense all night. Beautiful run, 34 yards by Morris, and now he's hurt. And they're trying to get some of the medical staff out onto the field to look at Joe Morris. He hurt his knee earlier in the game. Had to go out for a while.
And this will take us very close to the 2-minute warning. The clock is momentarily stopped at 2:03.
Breaking it back against the grain, spots a little bit of an opening, just breaks away from Vernon Dean, turns on the speed. He has great short speed, not a long sprinter type speed, but he can accelerate. And you saw it right there as he gets down to the 22-yard line, and another Giants first down.
And as Seaman restarts the clock here, that takes us to the 2-minute warning. A big night for Morris, a big night on the other side, of course, for Clark. It's 20-20 with 2 minutes to play in the 4th. And through the lights, the misting rain, Allegre warming up for what he hopes will be an extra point.
And I guess with 2 minutes remaining, you must also point out the Redskins have all of their timeouts remaining.
1st and 10, New York at the 22. And they give it to Morris. And Morris slips a tackle and then gets to the 18-yard line as he ran in and out of the hands of Dexter Manley. And then Manley makes the tackle.
That might have been the best effort of the night for Joe Morris. That would have been a 2 or 3 yard loss behind the line of scrimmage. He slipped the tackle, got away from Manley, slipped another one, and picked up 4 yards, but it could have been a 2 yard loss. And it shortened things up for this man, Raul Allegre. Rader, who had a personal high of 3 touchdowns last week, seems to get better almost every week. Big night. His career best, 375 yards.
Meanwhile, that last timeout was just taken by Washington because Washington does not want to allow the Giants to run the clock all the way down. So they were, in a way, compelled to take that timeout because the Giants are certainly within field goal range, and unless Washington stops the clock and conserves some time, they're in trouble. So Washington took that timeout.
They'll have an opportunity to take another one.
2nd and 5. Morris takes it inside the 15 to the 13. And now another Washington timeout, and what this means is it becomes almost imperative for Washington to stop the Giants on this play, because if the Giants were to pick up a first down now on 3rd and 1, they could run that clock all the way down almost to the nub and then bring in Allegre for the chip shot. And here they come now on 3rd and 1, and Morris. And Carthen leading the way for Morris, and Morris has the first down, and Morris has the touchdown.
And we're looking at a three-way tie in the NFC East. The little man has been doing it all night long, either on the receiving end or the rushing end. Breaks off a 3rd and 1. You often see it happen because everyone is up there playing it so tight. All you do is pop the hole, get to the outside, and you can take it the distance. It's a good block from Godfrey, number 61. And sprints to the outside, accelerates into the end zone, and the Giants go back out in front. 1:38 remaining for the Redskins, and they do have one timeout.
Allegre for the extra point. Giants by 7.
What a night. They said he played his best game, Al, last week against Seattle. How about this one tonight?
In a losing effort, he gained 116 yards and comes back tonight and up and over 180.
Certainly the season's best and one of his best ever. Turns on the speed into the end zone. And now the Redskins are gathered on the sidelines under Joe Gibbs. They have come back on many occasions from a similar situation or similar situations. Again, the block by Chris Godfrey that sprung Morris to the outside. Not a bad one by Carthen also. And he just does get in.
Allegre's kick is taken at the 2-yard line by Clarence Verdun, who runs back his first kick of the night. And he's out of bounds near the 30. And so here comes Schrader. Schrader is 19 out of 33. He's thrown for 376 yards tonight against the Giants. Normally impregnable defense.
You don't worry about Jay Schrader. I'm sure that Joe Gibbs, even though he's not even played one full season yet, you don't worry about this young man. He has command of himself. The team believes in him. He has a lot of poise, and he has great athletic talent.
Monk and Clark are both to the left. Didier is wide right. And it's underthrown at the 35 for Keith Griffin, who was slotted on the play. 2nd and 10. Again, Clark wide left, Monk slot left, Didier wide right. And 2nd and 10 to Clark, who gets free underneath and hit down at the 45-yard line by Carl Banks. First down.
But the clock continues to move. Great effort by Schrader. He was buried. I don't think he even saw the completion.
And Clark, who was near the sideline, came underneath across the middle of the field. First down at the 46. For Clark again, he's free again at the 37-yard line. He's having an amazing night. 10 catches for Clark. And we'll total it up, but right now the more important thing is this drive. But Clark is close to a record. At the 37-yard line, Schrader has to stop the clock and does with 38 seconds to play. They have one timeout, 2nd down and 10, and that's 228 yards tonight for Clark, who is 2 yards shy of the Redskins record held by Monk.
This will age coaches rather quickly. Parcells calls Lawrence Taylor over to the sidelines, whispers a word to him. Seconds ticking off.
There it is. By the way, the NFL record is 309. Stephon Page, Kansas City against San Diego last year. 2nd and 10. 3-man rush. Over the middle, in and out of Clark's hands. And that time he was quadrupled. 4 Giants around him, including Carson and Reasons, who were within close proximity.
He had collected a crowd. Let's take a look at it. Gary Clark, who is having this amazing night, gets away from Hill. He moves over the middle. You saw Carson, number 53, take a quick look at Clark as he came across. Might have got a hand in there even. And Taylor is there. And it brings up a 3rd down with 32 seconds remaining.
Close to getting a flag on the play. 3rd down, 10 from the 37. Clark and Monk to the right, and the Redskins with illegal motion, and the play is stopped before its inception. It was Joe Jacoby moving on the left side. 66.
False start prior to the snaps, number 66 offense.
Redskins are still alive, but they're going to have to get something rather major. They can't throw anything short anymore. They're going to have to get the ball downfield. There's Jacoby on the move. You saw it, number 66. And right now they know they're going to have to go upfield. They line up a pair of wide receivers to the right. The man they like to go, the clutch man, and he's been that for years, is Didier. If they cannot get it to Clark, Didier is the clutch man.
3rd and 15. Over the middle at the 30, it is Clark again. Amazing. He's just set a Redskins record, but it's 4th down and 3, and Washington has to use a timeout. 11 catches now for Clark. He's put his name in the Redskin record book. A tremendous night, but it's still 4th down and about 3.5 to come.
This was the best catch of the night. He has been spinning defenders around all night. He has been making good catches, but watch this one. See Schrader in trouble, moves to the right to give him a bit of a passing angle, and he comes down with it. That's an amazing grasp and an amazing night for Gary Clark out of a tiny little college. James Madison came to the Redskins out of the USFL a year ago. Had a tremendous year. Last year, 72 receptions, but look at him now, 240 yards on the night.
It's 4th down and 3. No timeouts remaining. And so Schrader at the 30-yard line. Not only needs the completion, he needs the guy to get out of bounds as well after picking up the first.
You have to think 1st down, and you have to think then get it out of bounds or get back in the huddle and let me throw an incompletion, and we can regroup once again. But if you don't get the 1st down, this one's history.
Giants 5-7. A New York win, and it's Dallas, Washington, and New York tied for 1st at the halfway mark of the season. They sent Clark to the left this time, Monk to the right. Everybody in the pattern.
That's moving again, right side of the Redskins.
It's Didier, but again, we've got a flag down before the play.
Over the right side, I think it was Mark May this time.
False start prior to the snap, number 73 offense.
It is 4th and 8. And what they were doing is on the play, they went for Didier, who was slotted on the right side, and he was moving over the middle. So 4th and 8 at the 35. Clark left, Monk right. And falling down was Clark, and he was open. Of all ways to end a record-setting evening. He just makes the catch of the night. He's wide open and falls down. And maybe the slippery turf and the rain that just started 10 minutes ago may have cost him his footing.
And a great night for Jay Schrader. Take nothing away from Gary Clark. Let's watch him. He works first against Kenny Hill. He'll try to get that allowable bump in there within 5 yards. Clark gets away from that, works his way into the clear. He is wide open. Schrader had it behind him, and Clark tried to come back for it. And it is a little damp, and down he goes. The Giants now can run out the clock with 17 seconds remaining. And we have a three-way tie in the NFC East. The Redskins, now the Giants, and the Cowboys. And it's going to be like that all the way down to the end here in the East.
So Gary Clark's 240 yards on 11 catches went unrewarded. The Giants won chiefly on the strength of Joe Morris's 181 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. A typical Washington-New York battle, with the final score, Washington 20, the Giants 27.
John, the power seems to always be changing in the National Football League, and I think right now it's safe to say the NFC East is the toughest division in all of the NFL.
It certainly is, and the big surprise to me is the Washington Redskins. They're supposed to be in a rebuilding year. They bring in George Rogers, running back, and Jay Schrader, quarterback, to take over for John Riggins and Joe Theismann, who retired. And now they're a real force to be reckoned with. The Dallas Cowboys, when we saw them in London, I thought their offense was terrible. They bring in Herschel Walker from the USFL, and his tremendous talents made all the difference in the world. The Giants, they had troubles on offense because of a lot of injuries, particularly to the receiving ranks. But their defense brought them through. Joe Morris is in form now, and I think their offense is going to improve. So, actually, I look for the Giants to win that division.
Well, John, I tend to agree with you, not because I'm a former Giant. I think they happen to be the toughest team in the division right now, particularly on defense. But it's going to be a bitterly fought divisional race right down to the end. Dallas, of course, won over the weekend. So they, of course, stayed in the first place tie, along with Washington and the New York Giants. And